Australian craft brewers have asked the World Trade Organisation to intervene in a dispute over fair trade for small local breweries. In recent years, the popularity of craft beers has increased in Australia, but the smaller brewers claim they're being unfairly squeezed by the big domestic breweries and foreign microbreweries. And it's those foreign brewers who are the target of the action by the Aussies in the WTO. On another front, the ACCC is investigating restrictive trading practices which lock craft beers out of some Australian hotels. But consumers are putting pressure on pubs to change their ways. This report from Steve Kinane, the producer was Sashka Koloff.
There's something highly unusual about this Sydney pub. It has 22 beers on tap, but not one of them is Tooheys New or VB. At the Union Hotel, a hard-earned thirst is more likely to be quenched by a cold craft beer.
Out of the 19 taps that are craft, we might have, 40 or 50 brewers a year. And so far, I think this year we've had 300 different beers on tap so far.
It would have been unthinkable 2 years ago, but small brewers are now knocking Australia's best-known beers off the taps in pubs like this one.
There's only one reason that those pubs will take those brands off, and that's because they're not selling. So if people are just making their purchasing decision based on, well, I want to drink that beer for whatever reason it is, better flavour, or just like the ethos of the company, want to deal with this, like doing with supporting a small guy, then that's the reason that those taps are doing well and they're not coming off.
Craft breweries are typically small, independent and focused on quality. Richard Adamson set up Young Henry's 2.5 years ago. Already he's winning international awards.
We got invited to do our real ale, which is our take on an English bitter, for Wetherspoons, which is a massive pub chain in the UK. They've got about 1,000 pubs. And I just got back into Sydney and I checked my email and it was like, we bloody won.
While total beer sales are declining in Australia, craft beer is becoming more popular, driven in part by the tastes of young drinkers in inner urban areas.
Before that, it was just like standard like Carlton Draft or Tooheys New, that kind of thing, and they were fine, but suddenly like when you taste something different, it just...
Can't go back.
Yeah, you can't go back after that.
Some pretty special bars with a much better vibe because people are there for the beer, the craft element of the beer, not just 10 litres of it.
But small brewers find it hard to get their beers on tap in most pubs. That's because the hotels sign contracts that allow the big brewers to monopolise the taps in exchange for tens of thousands of dollars worth of rebates and equipment. The small brewers believe that this is a restraint of trade.
This doesn't happen in other parts of the world. For example, in America, it is illegal to have one tap contracted. In the UK, it is illegal to have more than 2% of the total UK market as tied. Yet in Australia, they're allowed to have up to 93, 95% of the tap market tied up, and it's not seen as an issue.
The Australian Competition and Consumer Commission is currently investigating these kinds of supply conditions in the draft beer market. The big breweries argue the market is already competitive.
It's very competitive. We actually like that people coming into pubs wanting choice and variety. We are seeing a lot of publicans at the moment actually demanding that we can bring more craft beer taps to the consumer. As I said, 70% of our customers aren't contracted at all, and many of those ones where they do have contracts are not completely exclusive.
The big brewers have found another way of preventing the craft brewers eating away at their market share, buying up small breweries such as Little Creatures, White Rabbit and Matilda Bay. The independent craft brewers say they're being squeezed from all angles. They face further restrictions in the bottle shop market and pressures from foreign craft brewers like Sierra Nevada.
Australia's in a very unfair position because in 22 out of the 33 OECD countries are providing substantial reduced tax rates for their small brewers. And under the General Agreement of Trade and Tariffs, that is deemed a government subsidy. So when those brewers are then importing their beers into Australia, they are being subsidised by their government. So we're in an unfair trading position.
David Holyoake has written to the World Trade Organisation calling on them to take action. As the craft brewers await decisions from the WTO and the ACCC, it's consumers who are forcing local publicans to rethink the contracts they've struck up with the big breweries. Ray Riley turned down a deal with Carlton and United worth over $50,000. He says the decision has already paid off.
Big dividends. I mean, you know, just having the flexibility to, you know, to do what, you know, the community really wants, and that's, you know, have a good selection of beer, and we can do whatever we like to do. I mean, you know, if we take a beer on, it doesn't work, we get rid of it and we put another beer on.
I think what we used to see with pubs was the offering was very much supplier-led in terms of what choice people had. It seems to be more consumer-led now, so people want that choice.
Steve Kinane, Late Line.